Today's card's going to be a thank you card because I don't think you can ever have enough thank you cards in your stash. And I decided to use a creamy cardstock for the base and some craft cardstock as the part of the topper. I quite like the craft cardstock with the wood grain effect over it, and this is a stamp I've made myself from a picture that I took of a piece of wood. So a lot of Adobe photoshopping later, and I got this stamp image that I use, my image pack stamp set, which I'll hopefully do another video on another day. But anyway, so I've just covered this piece of craft cardstock with the wood grain effect, and the bit of the join, you can see where the stamp meets, the stamped image meets the second stamped image, will be covered up, as you see here, with this bit of pattern paper. This is Paper Mania's pattern paper, and it's their Simply Elegant Colossal Paper Pack. And it's a sheet from there that I'm using. So here I'm using my Cuttlebug, and I'm going to be cutting out just the oval shape from this this die. The die itself is not a Cuttlebug die, it's a Sizzix die, but it does work if you just use your two B plates and don't use the big A plate. It works just as well as any Cuttlebug, so any Cuttlebug die. So that's what I use for my oval, and I'm just using a thank you stamp here. This stamp set is by Penny Black, and it's the Salutation stamp set, and I use this a heck of a lot. I really probably overuse it, but there's so many nice stamps in it that I don't seem to get tired of it. And I'm just inking this up in brown ink, and it fits perfectly, excuse my head, in the oval die cut that I've just done. So here I'm just going to use a bit of Greek cardstock, and I'm going to cut a scalloped edge around the oval thank you die cut. I don't have any nestabilities or anything like that, so I'm just going to use a pair of scalloped edge scissors. They are quite fiddly to use, but my best advice would be just to go really slowly, take your time, and just concentrate on what you're cutting, and you get a fairly good approximation of a scalloped edge. And if you do mess up the join, you know, you can just put like a button or something over it, or anything, just a flower or whatever to cover up the join. So here I'm just tying a ribbon into a bow. I normally just do the knot, but I decided to do a bow this time, and I found it really fiddly. The knots are a lot easier, but you know, just tie the bow. Don't worry about how it looks to begin with. You can just keep playing around with it until you're happy with the shape and the length of the bow. Yeah, just keep playing around with it until you're happy, and then just cut your ends how you wish. And then I am sticking it onto the base card. I'm using these three-dimensional stickers to give it a bit of lift. I put quite a few on because it's quite a large piece of card. I'm putting it off center, so it's slightly over to the left, then more to the left than it is to the right. And here I'm adding the oval thank you topper sentiment, so it's hanging slightly off the edge of the craft cardstock to give it a little bit of movement in the card. Now I was just choosing here. I decided I was going to use green buttons, and I laid them out and I didn't like it. I thought it needed more of a contrast, so I went for the pink buttons instead, and I'm glad I chose those. Then I decided to put a line of faux stitching in with my white gel pen to make it look as though the buttons were sewn on along with the stitching. So I'm just drawing quite a thick line of faux stitching along here, and then I'm going to stick the buttons on with some glue dots. I find glue dots the best thing to use for sticking these buttons on. They're just far less hassle than using wet glue or anything like that, and I've never known anything to come off that I've stuck on with a glue dot. So then I decided to add a bit of white gel pen onto the edges of these scallops. I just drew a little dot on each one of these scallops just to finish the card off. So that's it for today's card. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time.